So the next question that you probably have is something which has been there long ago in your mind when you started Java. Why is the main method static? Now let's take a look at this with the help of a sweet little example. First, we are gonna see what happens if the main method was not static. So in that case, if you have a class, say my class, you have a main method inside which is not static. That means you have an object ob1 that contains the main method, and there's another object of your class, my class, that contains a different version of the main method that's gonna work with something of your my class, and you can have the main method everywhere, right? Now there are two problems with this. The first problem is the Java interpreter is responsible for calling the main method. It has to create an object of your class inside which you have your main method if your main method is not static, right? Now there's a problem with that. If you have constructors of your my class which are overloaded, your Java interpreter simply does not know which constructor to call. Now this is one of the problems. The second problem is this. Now notice carefully how there are several main methods out here that are different in some form or some way or the other. Now the operation that they perform may be the same, but you're saying that they are non-static, which means they are working with some data that belongs to my class, and hence they are different from each other, right? But that is against the definition of the main method, which means that what you want is a single place where you can start your program. Now this single place means a single damn place across all the objects. Now if you say your main method is static, then these three methods won't exist. It will be common over here, and inside this, whatever statement you write, whatever code you write is going to be executed whether you create an object of my class or not. In other words, you don't need an object of my class to execute the main method, and this is why the main method is static in nature. So Java virtual machine can call your main method without creating any object of your class inside which you have defined the main if you make main method static. And second of all, if main was not static, then JVM has to decide which constructor to call if there are several constructors available inside the my class due to constructor overloading, and that way the interpreter doesn't know which constructor to use, and hence the best thing for you to do, the Java designers thought, was to do is to make the main method static, which avoids the entire process of creating an object and directly says my class dot main to execute the main function inside your program. So this is a very tricky question which people ask all the time and people search all the time, and here is the sweet and simple little answer for that. So let's further move ahead and decide when should you keep something as static. Now this is again a question that people have all the time. A variable or method that works on some data that belongs to an object should be a normal variable or normal method. Like we discussed, every person has a different name, every person has a different address. Hence in those cases you cannot use static, because when you make something static you're saying that this should be common for everybody, which is not the case because everyone doesn't have the same name, right? So when a method performs a task or work which is independent of the contents of the object, then make it static. In other words, if you remember, the process of calculating the age from the date of birth was not dependent on name or address or any other field that we had inside the person class, and that is the reason why we made it static. Now remember one thing very carefully. If the person class does have an age variable inside or a date of birth variable inside, then you should not make the calculate age method as static, because in that case your method calculate age is dependent on the instance variable, that is age over there. Now remember, every circle has its own radius. Radius is dependent on a specific circle, therefore radius is an instance variable for the circle class. Same way you can say for the get area method here, get area depends on the specific radius of a particular circle, right? Hence it should be a normal method. But if you take a look at the math class where you have methods like random, power, sine, cos, like I said, they all take a number and they simply perform some operation which is independent of the contents, or you can say the other variables contained inside the object, and that is why they are static. So it's purely a call of your decision. Now this doesn't come easily. You guys will have to practice a lot before you get the sixth sense telling you that this should be static or not. Now let's talk about one more use of the static variable, the keyword, which is static imports. Every time if I want to use static variables or methods, I always say ClassName.variableName or ClassName.MethodName. However, I can avoid writing that class name every time by using something called static import. Now let's take a look at this. Here I've said import static java.lang.system.star. If you guys remember, system is actually a class. And again, if you go down, let's take another look at this by saying static java.lang.math.star. Again, math is a class, and I've said dot star, which means I'm saying that import all the static variables and static methods inside the math class. In the first statement, I'm saying import all the static variables and static methods inside the system class. And why would I do this? Let's take a look. There's a class root tester. There's the main method here. Inside that, I can directly say double R is sqrt of pi over here. Normally, we would say math.sqrt, which is class name.method name, and you would say math.pi, which is again class name.static variable name. But we don't have to do that. We can directly write sqrt and pi over here, because that's what we have done here by saying static java.lang. Now of course, this is the biggest shortcut which you guys wish you knew all the time. You can directly say out.println, because system.out is having out as a static variable inside your system class, and you can directly say out.println because you have said static import over here, which means import the static variables and methods inside the system class. So this is another use of the static keyword that you have, and there is of course one more use when it comes to inner classes, which we'll be talking about in the upcoming videos. So this is all that needs to be done as far as static methods and static stuff is concerned. In the next video, we are going to work static methods out with the help of a simple example, and there you guys will clearly understand what can be done and what cannot be done as far as static is concerned. If you like what you saw, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comment boxes below. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.